Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 3G Theater, where the magic of the silver screen meets the charm of Fallout. Broadcasting to you from the heart of Charleston, we're here to take you on a delightful journey. Now let's meet our hosts.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back and happy Halloween. I hope you guys had a great week. And you made it, you survived, you lived another week, and that's a good thing, right? So now it's time to celebrate some Halloween and check out some cool camps. We're not in the top 5 studio, obviously. So I wanted to take a quick second to show you this. This is location MZ01. It is a substation north of where they do Test Your Metal. North of Test Your Metal, there is a little train station, and this is over by that. I have tried to build here twice, and before the building system came into effect, this was absolute terror. The wires got in the way, the machinery got in the way. It was just a frickin'. It was as much nightmare fuel as what the weather station is doing to these wires right now, which is a nice little interesting glitch. Yeah, it was awful, but I slapped this together in like 8 hours. So if that tells you what the building system is capable of, and there's no trickery, this is the standard build system. So come by, check it out, and trick or treat. We're going to start off with the traditional, which is your buildings, actual like traditional style camp where there's a building and a structure. First up, we do have Lady H here. This, you guys have to pay attention, okay? Look at the scene that she has painted. Absolutely amazing. And there's certain angles, certain shots that she had taken that this is literally postcard material. You could literally just take a picture of the front of this place, turn it into a postcard, and that is just amazing. So the interior of this structure really isn't there. Her focus was just doing the exterior of the building and then the landscaping, all of that. I mean, look at how much crap is in the staircase, the landscaping leading up to the place. Tons of detail work. She's got the Foshnot sign in there with the goblin. And then as we go up, there is a poor vault dweller, apparently, who must have been trick-or-treating because there's even candy laying on the ground. So the devil in the details kind of thing, they say, it's really, really true. And it paid off for her because it really is. There's some of this stuff is literally postcard worthy. Fantastic job. This is beautifully done. Very beautiful. And she had a lot of budget in the landscaping, stuff like that. When she zooms out, you can actually see what's going on. But holy crap, this was really, really cool and very well done. And there's a doorbell. Yeah, this is cute. Very cute. I would get out of there. And I don't blame her for running. But yes, literally postcard worthy, unbelievable job. And this is what makes it so hard to judge these things because you go from that, which was, again, postcard worthy, but there was no interior, that was just painting a scene more or less. And then you go to this, which is Six Samurai Gaming, and I have seen this one before. This is not postcard worthy. This is something that you would expect to see laying around in some FBI files or something like that out in the wasteland. It is creepy, guys. Very, very dark storytelling aspect, but very, very well done. But you can see just, even if I say, hey guys, go make a building of some sort, you can see the difference in the styles because one of them was literally painting a scene where there was no interior. And then you're coming to this where there's messages on the wall, blood smears on the wall, just again, devil's in the details, you know? And there is a lot of detail in this. Six did a phenomenal job on this one. But that's what makes it so difficult because even if I say, hey, go just build a building, you guys can interpret that in so many different ways. And, that's fine. That's what's fun about this. It gives you creative freedom to be able to do whatever you want in that aspect. But yeah, look at the bloody letters on the walls and stuff like that. There's messages all over the place. And then he's got blood stains everywhere. It's the details, man, details. What a good job. Like the blood smear on the wall there. Got blood splatter over there with he's got the axe and or tomahawk in the skull. It's very very cool, guys. Very cool and impressive. It's amazing that the variety of styles that you guys have, and I really do. I love seeing this sort of stuff. This is really, really well done, Six. At the end, I don't, pretty sure that it shows that this is up by Dyer Chemical. Dyer Chemical has a spot in the road that just ends. The road was completely devastated and washed out. And he built this right where that road ends. Very, very cool. Yeah, right here, you're going to see that. If you pay attention, like at the roof line, that is the height of the road. He built this where it had all washed out. So it's really well hidden. Up next, we have Goldfinger 76. This is another one. Jeez, man. Extremely impressive. This one has multiple structures. So, and this is what I'm talking about, guys, the variety and the creativity. So you went from one that was just painting a scene. It was basically a postcard scene. And then you go to FBI file worthy crap. And it's just one building. And then you have Goldfinger 76 with multiple buildings, multiple scenes. Pay attention to every one of these scenes, the variety of scenes, how everything's decorated. Extremely well done. This one, I think, by far, was the best use of your camp budget. This was, in my opinion, I think that this was the smartest use of the camp budget. Because, well, look at that scene. That's awesome. I say it's the best use of your camp budget because there's so many different little buildings, so many different little scenes. Nothing was shorted on. Every scene has decor on it where when you look at it, and you're like, well, I wish there was more stuff here or there. It's not really like that. Everything's very well thought out, very well placed. So it looks like the entire camp is full. And, well, it's because it is. Look at this scene right here. Got the exploding meat bag. Unbelievable and very well done. And again, guys, we've seen this one, but this is our Halloween special, so you can submit your creepy camps. And what a great job! Fantastic, man. Atomic Punk. This is another one. So, and again, this just to express the variety of things. Now, this one is a building. It is functional. It's basically a haunted house kind of theme. But there's still so many aspects of this that are postcard worthy. Like that wagon right there with the lamp, you could zoom in on that and then do a postcard shot with that. There's a lot of angles that this one would be postcard worthy. And you guys are amazing. This is really well done, though. I like the staircase. I love the porches. You did real good on the porches. Everything's decorated. And, that's the challenge, which is why I praise Goldfinger on that build. Our camp budgets suck sometimes. And there's nothing that we can do about that. Bethesda has addressed that issue multiple times now. Because this is a console game, consoles don't have enough VRAM, that's your video memory, to be able to expand on this budget very much, okay? And the reason being is that the consoles they can't render in and process that kind of information without having really, really poor gameplay. Which, if you've ever played 76 on console and then played it on PC, it's like a different game. It plays horrible on console, but most games do, and I'm not talking shit about consoles. Yes, I am. They fucking suck. I've always been a console boy. I love consoles, and they're way underpowered for the stuff that we have now. It is what it is. But that's why we're not getting budget increases, things like that. Bethesda has addressed this multiple times. So you got to be really smart with what budget that you do have. And Atomic Punk, you did a phenomenal job. None of the rooms are empty. Everything's filled up where it looks like this would be a livable place, aside from the corpses. There's probably way more ghosts living here than people, But this is beautifully done. This one impressed me a lot, And to be fair, any of them that you're actually seeing right here, they're all impressive. Look at that. That's a freaking postcard scene again. Widow Bite, coming out of the blue. Now, this is postcard worthy, but again, look at the difference in style. This is a much more creepy, eerie feel than some of the other ones. It's very dark in nature. Again, though, you could take some postcard pics at this camp for sure. And then when we get into the interior, again, Widow Bite always shines on the interior. Well, and probably because it's lit up with a fire. But yeah, all jokes aside, though, she's always really, really good with the interiors and things like that. She can tell a story. And this one, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. This is a creepy place. And it's amazing, again, how, people can take different styles of buildings. So, right now we've got one that was basically a facade that was painting an entire scene and had a lot of landscaping. You've got one that deserved to be in FBI files. The medieval village that Goldfinger did is creepy as hell. That's a place that you never want to go. Atomic Punk, amazing haunted mansion. And then you've got this, which is, well, this is another place that you just really don't want to end up being in real life because, yeah, bad things might happen to you. You might not come out of this house. But I love that aspect of it. You guys have such a variety of, creativity and things like that. And that's what makes this stuff inspiring. It gives us all the opportunity, to get ideas off one another. And, at that workbench, I don't know if you guys noticed, but again, devil's in the details. She had a saw that must have been, placed on a chessboard or something like that, and then merged down into that workbench. Very beautifully done, Widow Bite. This is really impressive. Look at the roof. She's got a tarp over the open roof. She used a tent. That's one of the best uses of that tent that I've ever seen, because that thing's a pain in the ass to place and actually get the poles to sit on the ground. But you can see it real good there. Phenomenally done, though. Very, very great job. I'm just sipping on my coffee real quick, sorry. Yeah, this is very, very well done. I love this camp. I want to come see this one. Great job, though. And all of you, fantastic work. It's just unbelievable. So, moving on, we are going to start looking at the creative class. Um, and, obviously, I just implemented the traditional and creative for obvious reasons. It's not fair to take somebody's house or, haunted mansion, whatever it is, and then compare it to something like this, which is a giant pumpkin. So, yeah, that's obviously we've, separated into a couple categories. And, the Discord's going to reflect that as well. I'm going to put in a separate channel for creative and then separate for traditional builds. And this is why. Um, it's really, you can't compare this or compare another vehicle or something like that to somebody's little cottage off in the woods somewhere. It's just totally apples and oranges, or in this case, pumpkins. But, Baker, fantastic use of your lighting. He's got ultrasight crystals for the teeth. He's got the wavy willards forming the actual pumpkin shape, and the lighting was brilliant. He used warm colored lights to create that orangey effect, and it obviously came out very, very good, you know? So it was a wonderful job. And again, I love seeing like what comes out of your guys' minds, because I wouldn't have thought personally that, hey, maybe I can do like this crazy pumpkin scene. Very, very well done. And I love that. You did an excellent job, man. Now for Dead Guy Crafts. And this is another one I would never have thought of doing. So he says that this one was inspired by the movie Lake Placid. And, God rest her soul, Betty White. Um, she was a national treasure. You gotta love that woman. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought of this. But, he's like, I'm gonna make a giant croc in the swamp. And what a creative idea. Now, for that scaly portion that would be under the neck and the lower jaw, you can see he's used a bunch of bathtubs and stuff like that. And he had to get really creative with the teeth and things like that. Very, very well done. He mentioned that in the Discord at some point. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do with the teeth. And I'm not disappointed, man. Considering what we have to work with and everything, this is really well done. Very creative. And again, I love seeing what you guys come up with, because it's inspiring. This is totally not a style or anything that I would have done or picked or chosen or even thought of. And, you know, it's because we all have different styles, different imaginations. And this stuff right here, very cool. Very cool. I love the spikes on the back. He's used that Loch Ness monster kind of creature to merge in there, and it's creative, and I love seeing that. I like what you did with the eyes with the clock too. That was really smart, but very well done. And it baffles me sometimes how the human mind works and what you guys end up coming up with. It's fantastic. But I guarantee, if this was a real thing that was out there in the Meyer swamps, people would probably be avoiding that area a little bit more. Very, very neat, though. And, what a wonderful imagination, man. Great job on that. Now, up next, we have Risk Happy. Okay, now, for those of you who talked to her in the Discord, that's Naomi. Um, again, this is a kind of like a ritual scene. Okay, it doesn't fall under the traditional camps, because it's not an actual traditional camp. Um, but look at the detail that she's done. So she's obviously used all those boats to kind of create a partially open structure. The person laying there has a knife stuck in them, like this is some sort of sacrifice, or unbelievably eerie. Very, very well done. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say other than wow. This one definitely, it stands out from the crowd. And again, the devil's in the details. You can see the knife in the side of that person laying there. What an eerie scene that you are painting. fantastic job. The use of the fire, things like that, it's unbelievable. This is one of them places, though, that you probably don't want to come across in the wasteland because you might not ever make it back, you know? Beautifully done, though, very impressive. I miss seeing some people's builds that have stopped playing because they made a lot of things like this. Um, and when you're painting that scene, you know, that takes a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination, and a lot of trial and error because a lot of times you're going to end up making something. You're like, I don't like the way this came out. Oh, I don't like the way this is looking. So you're constantly just adjusting things, rebuilding things, changing things to finally get to that scene that you really want. And this is very convincing. I love the floating fires right there. Man, that is a nasty scene. And look at that, the using the wall decor, like it was almost like a spiky crown that was on that mermaid. Very creative, phenomenally done. I absolutely love this one. Great job, young lady. Very, very impressed. And again, you know, seeing people's different styles and things, I would have never thought to use the boats in that sort of way or anything like that. And it worked. It worked really, really well. Now, moving on to the honorable mentions, real quick. Slog the Frog. I have never met this person or anything, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not real big on Enclave style builds or anything. This was phenomenally done, and I hope to see more from you. Punky Bluester, another fantastic job. Punky is a very, very good builder, and you know this camp, it shows it. It shows it. The interior on this was absolutely amazing, and I wish I could show you guys some more of that because fantastic freaking job. Flotten Moyne. This is another one that has moved up in the rankings, so to speak. The way that he does things, you know, like right here, you had that hidden doorway that takes you to the inside of this. Really, really well done. You wouldn't really know that doorway was there. Coffee. Now, I honestly, I wish that I could come see this. This may be your best camp yet, and freaking phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Absolutely love how this one came out, and building in that water was brilliant. So let's take a look first at the creative class, okay? In third place, we have Baker Boy 76 with his amazing build. In second, we have Dead Guy Crafts. Amazing job on that. And in first place, we have Risk Happy. What a phenomenal job that you did. The use of the boats and stuff like that was pretty mind blowing. Dead Guy Crafts, amazing that you picked, you know, Lake Placid as an inspiration, you know, and that's an idea for you guys too. You can use movie themes, story themes, whatever you want. And then obviously Baker Boy, fantastic job on that pumpkin, beautifully done. Now moving on to the traditional category. In fifth place, we have the Atomic Punk 24, and that was with that haunted mansion. Beautiful job on that. In fourth place, we have Six Samurai Gaming. Man, I'm telling you right now, I'm kind of disappointed that that build doesn't have a story behind it that we can go find in the wasteland because it seriously needs to be in like some FBI files or something that we could come across. Beautiful job, man. In third place, we have Lady H, and that was that build that was just absolutely, honestly, postcard worthy. You know, you did a beautiful job, and considering that there's no interior on that place or anything, wonderful job. In second, we have Goldfinger 76. And, you know, again, honestly, I've said it repeatedly, but I really do believe that that was the best use of the budget out of all of the camps that we had submitted. Um, Everything's spread out, but it doesn't feel thin in the decor or anything like that. It's not lacking in any sort of aspect there. And last but not least, in this case, in first place, Widow Bite. You did a phenomenal job. And I always expect you to do a really, really good job. But with Widow Bite, whenever she does something, you always know that the interior is going to be absolutely amazing. And in the past, there have been a few times where she was so focused on the interior that the exterior was lacking. And you did not do that this time. You packed the exterior, the tent as the roof. That worked out beautifully well. I think that's the best use of that tent that I've seen. Um, just phenomenal job overall. And you guys, everybody, wonderful, wonderful jobs. And again, I do appreciate the participation. You guys are knocking it out of the park. Um, Coming this November and stuff like that. We do have surgery coming up. We have to get a tendon fixed, because when tendons separate into two pieces, that's no bueno. Yeah, that's no good. So we got some things we got to take care of and then prepare for winter. But I want to get us back on a normal schedule because one, you guys deserve it, and number two, we've got plenty of entries. We are not short in that aspect at all. But you guys, I want to make sure you stay safe this Halloween, all right? Watch out for stupid people doing stupid things to candy, all right? Be careful out there, but go have fun. Enjoy the weekend, celebrate. There is going to be a Halloween music video coming out really, really soon, and I love you. See you in the next one.